All right, so now we're going to look at static methods, which if any of you are coming from a language that uses classes, you probably know what this is. So it's basically a method that is available on the class itself rather than the instance of a class. So let me show you what I mean. So a regular method, right, like let's say area, and we're using some properties like this dot height and this dot width. So in order to call this, we have to instantiate the object, right? We have to say equals new rectangle, and we have to pass in a name, rect 1010, and then we can do rect.area. Well, we have to console log it. All right, so we can do that. Now, this area method, it needs an instance, right? Because it's using the height and it's using the width. But what a static method is a method that we can call directly on the class. So there's certain things that you can't have static. Like I couldn't have a static area because again, we need the height and the width. We need that instance. But if I had, let's say, a function called get class, right? If we had something like that just simply returned the class name. So if I said like return rectangle, then I don't need an instance for that. I mean, it's kind of a weird example because obviously we know the class because we're calling it on the class, but you get the point. It's just static data. You might have a class that it'll return the server name or something like that. Or if you're using this, a good example is actually if you're using a UI class to add and remove things from the DOM. There's only one UI, so you can have a lot of static methods. In fact, that's something we're gonna get to. But this get class, what I'm going to do is add the keyword of static before it. So that makes it a static class. Now, if I save that and I come down here and I try to do console log, and then I take my instance and call get class. So if I do that, I'm going to get an error. It says get class is not a function. And that's because of this static. If I remove the static, then that works. But I want to keep it static, and what I have to do is instead of using the instance, I just use the class itself. So capital R rectangle dot get class, and you'll see that now it's printing rectangle. So it's actually something that's very simple, but it's also something that's really powerful, and you're probably going to use quite a bit.